Hello everyone, my name is Carol, and in this presentation I will explain a relationship that holds between actualism, counterpart theory, and metaphysical anti-haecceitism. The plan of this presentation is the following. First of all, I will briefly explain what actualism about possible worlds is. Then I will present a problem that actualism faces, that is a problem of accounting for a possibility of indiscernibles. Then I will show a way actualists can solve this problem, namely by endorsing a counterpart variant of actualism. And then I will argue that in order to provide a foundation for such a solution, actualist has to supplement her view with some kind of metaphysical account of individuals that is anti-haecceitist. And I will provide some three anti-haecceitist metaphysical accounts, and I will say that one of them is preferable for actualist. So actualist is a view that according to which everything that exists is actual, that there are no things which exist but are non-actual. So actualism is a denial of modal realism. Nevertheless, actualists maintain Leibnizian biconditionals. That is, they say that P is possible if and only if P is true according to some possible world W, and P is necessary if and only if P is true according to all possible worlds. So almost all possible world theories use these kind of biconditionals, and actualists do as well. However, they do not have in the ontology genuine possible worlds and genuine possible individuals because they do not believe that there are such things. Unlike model realists who think that there are concrete possible worlds and concrete possible individuals that all are equally real to as actually existing individuals in the actual world. Actualists instead, of course, want to preserve Leibnizian biconditionals, and therefore they have to provide us with some surrogates or proxies for genuine possibilia. And usually such proxies are understood as some kind of abstract objects that necessarily exist within the actual world. And we can discern two actually strategies. That is, on the one hand, we have Platonic actualism, and on the other hand, we have Aristotelian actualism. And the main difference between both views lies in the fact that Platonic actualism states that we have unique proxies for each possible individual and for each possible world. And on the other hand, we have Aristotelian actualism, and according to this view, we do not have unique proxies or surrogates for each possible individual and each possible world. That is, our descriptions of what is possible with regard to non-actual objects are such descriptions are purely general. They are not, we do not have singular reference to mere possibilia. And in this presentation, I will focus mainly on Aristotelian actualism, and more specifically, I will focus on its linguistic ersatcism. That is a kind of Aristotelian actualism, probably most popular one. So according to linguistic ersatcism, possible worlds and possible individuals are just some kind of stories which are written in Lagardenian language, which is infinitary, because we want to have infinite resources in order to be able to explain each possibility we want to, in order to not leave gaps in logical space. This language also has to be non-modal in order to be non-circular, and also it is purely qualitative language because we lack non-qualitative resources to refer to non-actual objects. So each possible world has a actualistic actualists. Each possible world is replaced by ersatz world, and each possible individual is replaced by ersatz individuals according to ersatzism. And as we can see, ersatz worlds are just some complete qualitative, purely qualitative descriptions, and these descriptions just are just enumerations of individuals and their respective properties. And this description should be also should be supplemented by a claim that that's everything that is the case according to this world. And similarly for ersatz individuals are just some kind of complete qualitative descriptions, and we obtain ersatz individuals by freeing one variable from the description of a description of a possible world of the ersatz possible world, and then each ersatz individual is defined in relation to other individuals and other properties within a given possible world. So ersatz individuals are just like monads in Leibniz. They reflect the state of the whole possible world. So what is more important though here is that ersatz individuals and ersatz worlds represent qualitative ways for individuals and worlds to be, and this kind of qualitative ways are just identified with properties that a given individual or world would instantiate if its ersatz individual or ersatz world would be actual. And now a problem for ersatzism arises, that is, this view has troubles with explaining the possibility of indiscernibles, that is the possibility of there being two indiscernible objects that share their internal intrinsic properties and also relational ones. So they're qualitatively indiscernible if they are located in a purely relational space. And because in such a case, even location cannot individuate those objects. So ersatzist can explain this kind of possibility on the level of ersatz worlds by providing such description as we can see. We can describe as actualists, as ersatz actualists, this kind of world. However, we cannot describe these two objects as two ersatz individuals, because we do not have as ersatzist two ersatz individuals that are qualitatively indiscernible. And this is so because ersatz individuals are individuated by qualitative ways they represent, that is by properties that they, by maximal properties that they represent. And if those two individuals, ersatz individuals just described below, represent the same qualitative way for individual to be, then those both individuals are just the same. And here I treat F, a predicate F, as a shortcut for a very complex predicate for a that states all qualitative features, internal and relational, to a given individual. So F describes a qualitative profile of X and Y. And so if those two individuals represent the same maximal qualitative property, then those two individuals are just the same. So ersatzist has a problem with explaining a possibility of indiscernibles because she cannot provide us with two ersatz individuals that are indiscernible. So thankfully, there is a solution to this issue. Of course, there are many solutions, however, to this issue. Of course, there are many ersatz solutions to this issue. However, a most promising one is one, in my opinion at least, is one that is based on counterpart theory. Originally, Counterpart theory is an idea associated with model realism, according to which some individual has some model property F if this individual X has a counterpart Y, and this counterpart Y is F in some possible world distinct from a world in which X exists. So for example, Sol Kripke could be a farmer if Sol Kripke has a counterpart Kripke star that is relevantly similar to Kripke from the actual world, and this Kripke star exists at some distinct world from the actual world, and this Kripke star is a farmer. And actual Sol Kripke has this model property in virtue of his counterpart having this property in some other possible world. And this schema can be used by actualist view on possible worlds. That there is nothing that denies that precludes that. So as actualists, we can say that X is possibly F if and only if X has associated ersatz individual E1 such that it has a counterpart ersatz individual E2, which represents X-like individual as being F. So what is important here is that according to actualist counterpart theory, we do not compare similarities between individuals nor ersatz individuals because we do not have genuine concrete individuals as actualists, at least if we are talking about non-actual objects, and we cannot compare ersatz individuals because these are just linguistic constructions, and linguistic constructions do not have qualitative intrinsic properties. And then we are left with comparing similarities between properties represented by ersatz individuals. So what is the consequence of endorsing actualist counterpart theory is that modality is explained in terms of qualitative properties and relations between them. It is not explained in terms of individuals or ersatz individuals. So modality is explained in some purely general way. Given that, it allows us to avoid a problem of indiscernibles, because indiscernibles turn out to be possible in virtue of there being a two-place property represented by the mentioned description, such that an individual exemplifying this property has to co-exemplify a property of being one of the two indiscernibles first. Moreover, an individual would exemplify this property, a two-place property, if an ersatz world would be actualized. So it is possible that there might be particular indiscernibles first, but actually there are no such particulars first. So we can explain possibility of indiscernibles first in virtue of some relationship between qualitative properties which are general and without a commitment to existence of indiscernible individuals. So there would be indiscernible individuals if a world containing those would be actualized. However, if such world is non-actual, then we can explain this possibility in terms of purely general descriptions. So that is the main feature of actualist counterpart theory. And now I argue that this view, this actualist counterpart theory, has to be supplemented by some further metaphysical account of individuals. And this is all because modality has to be grounded in first order metaphysics. And the reason for that is that for many philosophers, and I agree with them in that regard, modality is not a fundamental or most substantial feature of the world. So so our account of modality has to be grounded in some first order metaphysics. And secondly, more specifically, we need to provide an account of the nature of individuals, or whether there are any individuals at all in our ontology, before we provide a model characterization of them. And this is so because if our, for example, if our metaphysics, for example, precludes the existence of individuals, then there is no point in analyzing modalities de re that involve ascribing model properties to individual objects. So first we have to establish a proper metaphysical account of our reality in order to then this provide an explanation of model features of reality so understood. So I argue that actualist counterpart theory is should be supplemented by some kind of metaphysical anti-haecceitism. And I argue, and I think that this is so because metaphysical anti-haecceitism claims that individuality of objects can be explained in purely qualitative terms. So in terms of purely qualitative features of objects. So this mirrors those counterpart analysis of modality that are associated with actualist counterpart theory. And we have three popular variants of metaphysical anti-haecceitism: Leibnizian metaphysics, bundle view, and generalism. And now I will briefly survey three of those options and argue that generalism is the preferable one. So according to Leibnizian view, each individual object has associated individual concept. And the contemporary analog of this view is that each individual object has associated qualitative individual essence, which is understood as a set of essential properties which are unique and necessary for its bearer. So this view entails some strong variant of principle of identity of indiscernibles, and therefore this view entails that the problem of indiscernibles does not arise at all. So it is in some sense revisionary, and it allows ersatzists to avoid the problem at all. So and it is not the preferable solution to problem of indiscernibles, because many people think that we cannot deny intuition that at least some possibilities of involving indiscernibles are genuine, and yeah. So and moreover, other issues with this view are that many people think that the issue with this view is that it entails that all individuals have associated qualitative individual essences. And many would think that it is a highly controversial claim because one could argue that not every entity has to have essence. And moreover, many essentialists think that there are no unique individual essences, especially qualitative individual essences, because, for example, if we are essentialists of origin, then origin properties are impure, that in some sense they involve non-qualitative reference, for example, to gametes, and therefore they are not purely qualitative individual essences, and many candidates for essential properties are such like that. So it is highly controversial to say that they are qualitative individual essences. And moreover, Leibnizian view entails extreme essentialism. That is the idea of individual concept entails that each predicate that characterizes a given object is important for its identity. So if we change any predicate of a description of a given object, then we change the object, and therefore this view entails extreme essentialism. And extreme essentialism is also highly controversial view, because we usually believe that not all properties of objects are essential to them. So Leibnizian view is highly problematic to endorse by actualist counterpart theory. So perhaps she could endorse a bundle view, according to which individuals are just bundles, for example, merological sums of some constantiated or compresent properties, understood either as universals or tropes. So standard bundle theories deny the possibility of indiscernibles, and in this sense are revisionally as a Leibnizian view, and this is quite controversial. However, some versions of bundle view allow for indiscernibles. For example, if we accept Armstrongian view on properties and allow for a given property to be localized at many places at the same time. However, I would argue at this point that our solution to the problem of indiscernibles as actualists should not depend on some particular view on properties, and then our actualist solution to indiscernibles should be neutral over a problem of universals. And moreover, bundle view has some serious issues, and most serious one, in my opinion, is that it has hard times in accounting for relations, because relations cannot be included in a bundle, and relational properties are individuated by relations. So it is really hard for bundle theories and to account for relations. And moreover, bundle theory entails some kind of extreme essentialism as well, because if we change the constituents of a bundle, we change object itself, and if we change any constituent, we change the object itself. So a bundle theory entails some kind of extreme essentialism. Thankfully, generalist view avoids these two kinds of problems that are affecting Leibnizian view and bundle view. So according to generalism, all fundamental facts are purely qualitative. There is no need to postulate individuals or individualistic facts at all. And here by individualistic facts, I just mean facts that are directly about individuals. For example, Socrates being human is an individualistic fact. And generalism also claims that there is just one big qualitative fact that grounds everything else. So such fact could be identified with some with a given ersatz world that is a purely qualitative description of everything that is the case according to the world, and everything else supervenes or is grounded in such description. And this view works well with actualist counterpart theory, according to which possibilities are represented by purely qualitative descriptions. And then generalist has a nice description of indiscernibles. If we deny individualistic facts and individuals at all, we have to paraphrase the ersatz description of indiscernibles mentioned earlier, and we should, as a generalist, say something like this: the fact that it effices and it numerical difference sizes obtains. So in other words, this statement just says that there is an occurrence of f and a property f, and there is an occurrence of a property f, and there is an occurrence of a numerical difference between those two kind of occurrences. So if we remember, as I said earlier, property f just is the maximal property that describes a qualitative profile of a given individual. So we have just a duplication of occurrences of this qualitative profile, and we say that there is a numerical difference between those two occurrences, and that's everything we need to explain a possibility of indiscernibles as a generalist. So and as I said, unlike Leibnizian and bundle views, generalism does not require true or strong principle of identity of indiscernibles, nor extreme essentialism. It just is neutral completely over essentialism, because it is neutral over because it denies that there are individuals. So it does not care whether individuals have essential properties or all the properties are accidental. So and just to have a brief to say in conclude, generalism is the preferred metaphysics for anti-haecceitism, for ersatzists. As long as we compare it to Leibnizian and bundle view, perhaps there is other anti-haecceitist view, for example, a nihilism, that should be discussed. However, if we compare just those three views, I think that generalism is a preferable view, and by endorsing generalism, ersatz has to revise her language in a way she describes ersatz individuals and ersatz worlds, because she has to give up her quantificational language and use rather some algebraic language that uses predicates and algebraic operations of them. And a reason for that is straightforward. Quantificational facts are grounded in their instances. Since there are no instances of quantificational ersatz descriptions, because there are no instances of descriptions of non-actual objects, according to actualism, such descriptions turn out to be fundamental, because if quantificational facts are not grounded in anything, then they are fundamental. However, this conclusion is problematic, for it would entail that many facts about all various non-fundamental, non-actual individuals, such as Kripke's twin brother or talking donkey, etc., would turn out to be fundamental. So all such model facts would be fundamental. And in order to avoid this, ersatz should endorse algebraic language and give up quantificational language. However, that is something that has to be yet to be done. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions or comments, send me them to this email address. So thanks, bye.